You're watching Poland Daily Business. My name is Aleksander Wierzejski, and we continue our story about avoiding fraud in Polish corporation. That's from the perspective of the manager. Wojciech Dudziński, fraud investigator, wrote the book, How to Avoid Corporate Fraud and 6 a.m. Visit, meaning that you will not be challenged by the law of enforcement early in the morning. So welcome to the show, first of all.
Good morning.
And obviously we already said in this program that is the manager who is responsible for negligence if the fraud happens. So what to do to prove towards prosecutor, to the court, that you didn't present negligence in that issue, that you took care of the issue, even if they are happening outside of your knowledge?
What I suggest is doing the fraud risk audit in the company, which we suggest many times in a situation when there is a new CEO who comes to the company. And the fraud risk audit is about analyzing the risks and the possibilities of fraud in the company. We analyze all the procedures, we analyze the business transactions, and then we identify the risks, and then we do the tests to detect those risks. And then there is a report saying what has to be changed, if there is a loophole in internal control. And this kind of thing, this fraud risk audit, because obviously nobody can give you 100% assurance that there will be no fraud, because fraudsters are very smart. You know, they work many years in the company and they exactly know everything about the company. So obviously there is no 100% assurance. But then if the fraud will happen, you can go to the prosecutor and say, okay, I did what I could. I ordered the professional fraud risk assessment, or it was done. I implement the internal control, new internal controls. I implement the procedures. So you cannot say that it was negligence from my side.
True, and this should help you in the moment when the situation comes dire. Are there any signs within the company that something is wrong? Can average manager who is just parachuting to the other company that he knows little about find out that there are symptoms that something is wrong?
Yeah, there are a lot of this kind of indications. I tell you one of them. For example, the most often
the managers ride too expensive cars for their salaries.
Well, obviously there are this kind of signs that the guy comes to the company with a very expensive car, which doesn't correspond with his earnings. But there are other things, like for example, the sequential number of invoices. Yeah, when you have invoices from your subcontractor and they are numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which means that the subcontractors only render services for the one client, which is obviously strange, because normally the company renders services for various clients. And you can assume that this is the false state intermediary, which is put in the middle. Yeah. So there are a lot of this kind of indications which you can implement in your company, or which you can know to prevent from fraud. Because at the end, you are responsible as the management board.
All right, because
not the auditor. You are responsible. So it's better to know those schemes. It's better to know how to detect those schemes to avoid problems.
Right. What is the statistics in Poland? How many managers are filing under this chapter of law, like a year?
In Poland, the problem is that those kind of things last a long time. It's difficult to say how many people are sentenced. Because it may take 5 to 6 years, and this is I would say a problem, also a huge problem for managers, because for example, they are detained or arrested. The people come at 6 o'clock in the morning, as we said, and then the case lasts for 10 years. And for the 10 years they don't have a life at some point.
Right, it's very easy to smear someone and kind of difficult to clean yourself from the charges, especially like this, because people will think, well, he was charged for frauds. He came out after 10 years, like with clean sheet, but who knows what was behind?
Who remembers that? No one. If the things go to newspaper, everyone says, yeah, he's a fraudster. But then after 10 years, no one remembers the case.
So it's better to be warned.
Yeah.
That means you are prepared. And if you want to be warned, read the Wojciech Dudziński's book, How to Avoid Corporate Fraud, and 6 a.m. visit. Sir, thank you very much for that.
Thank you very much.
Interesting and I hope very useful knowledge that you shared with us. For those who want more, the book is available in Polish right now. But if you want to invest in Poland, you better have someone who knows the local language. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Aleksander Wierzejski. That was it for Poland Daily Business tonight. We'll be back tomorrow with more interesting stories.